Peace. We are back with another one, episode 8, the Overthinker podcast. Thank you, everybody that's joining. Um, as you see tonight, we are getting in on the title, right? The title being 1 + 1 = 3. And the title, right? The title being 1 + 1 = 3. All right, so we're going to get into that, but not only that, we're going to get into the involvement of that with not just 1 + 1, but then we also going to get into the law of karma and the law of cause and effect and see how these things tie into each other with universal law or spiritual laws, and then something is basic or the question being aroused now, 1 + 1 = 3. Can we make sense of it all? Or is this just something that these people out here just talking about and how can I say it, just making up a new narrative or making up something to distract us all over again? So let's dive into what's 1 + 1 = 3 and also the law of karma, right? So the first thing that I want to touch on is adding, right? Addition. What is addition? What is adding? Okay. Going into the meaning of adding, all right, first is, of course, to add to something or to add on. All right. So let's look at the similar words. Is to build on, join, or connect. Okay. So if we take what we get from Google, now everything that I get is from Google. We're not going out the box. We sticking to what we can get to, right? If we stick to the similar words, the synonyms for adding, addition, whatever it is, right? Building on or build on, join, and connect. Now, when we go to the equation, right? 1 + 1 = 3. And the whole reason why 1 + 1 = 3 is because the symbol of addition or plus is a symbol for space, meaning the space in between, right? Or the substance or the essence of that's in between the two positive beings or the two positive integers, the two positive numbers. Because this is the thing, right? In studying, in scholarship work, you cannot have a negative without a positive, meaning a positive must be present for a negative to exist in the first place, right? We have to, one thing, if you go back into the previous episodes, which you can catch on YouTube if you don't know, all right, which the link is in my bio, okay? In previous episodes, right, everything is an illusion, right? That's absolute truth, meaning mind and universe, you cannot have. You get what I'm saying? You cannot have existence or life as we see it without mind and universe. But the substance of existence, right, is there once the interaction comes into place. Okay? So 1 + 1 = 3 because there's a substance in between, there's a space. Okay? So, for example, okay, one of the examples that was given in a video I was watching with Eddie Griffin. Let's take an example that's already out here given from a popular figure, Eddie Griffin. Okay. He said 1 + 1 = 3. Okay. He symbolized it like this for a reason, because to understand that the middle is always an essence and always a substance there, right? I also like to put it in the sense of mind, universe, when they come together, or once they're added and built upon or connected, you get life. Okay? It was one over here, one over there. Two was never present. But how can two get present? That we're going to get into that later. Right? Because it's like, well, how we get 1 + 1 = 3, but then where did 2 come from? Right? Then where does the 2 come from? So we're going to get into that. Okay? So building on joining, connect. Let's get back to it. Let's get into a religious sense, the Holy Trinity, right? The Holy Trinity, okay? The Holy Trinity. Father, Son, Holy Spirit, right? Those are three different things, but can all be what? As one, right? Eddie Griffin also explained that. Okay. Why can't it be why can't it be one though? Why all three can be one? Because if you got one over here, one over there, and you bring them all together, that's a connection. And if you're connected, right? If you're connected, you're all one source. That's the whole point of, okay, let's take it in the business aspect. Buying other companies, what we call acquisition and mergers, right? Buying other companies to build on or put underneath what we already have. No problem. No problem. You're exactly right. Okay. So what we don't take for an account when it comes to mathematics or arithmetic, I should say, right? Arithmetic, right? So we starting to dive in. When I seen Eddie Griffin touch on it, I was like, oh yeah, we got to get into it, right? We got to get into it because the reason why I say it like that is because how I move is based on what information is already out here and given, right? It's all about confirmation, okay? It's all about confirmation. So another thing, 1 plus 1 equals 3. You plus the breath of life plus breath equals life. Let me say it like that. You plus breath equals life. That's 3, right? So we have to remember that that's why we're going into the law of karma, which is actually the laws of cause and effect. For every cause, there's an effect, but we cannot forget the process to the effect. Okay, just because, right, we did something to this person or we gave to this person negatively or positive does not mean we will not see that in return on the way back. That's an equation. That's not just life, right? That's why everybody say, "Oh, life is numbers," right? Or you can get your alphabet has a numerical code to it and different things of this nature. Why is that? Because everything has an effect, right? Because and also on the back end of that, or everything has a cause, which in turns everything has an effect. So there is no empty space nowhere. Okay, there is no empty space nowhere. All right, we have to remember that these symbols hold meaning. These symbols hold space. These symbols hold weight. We've been taught because we can't see it, don't believe it. See, that's one of the things that's been pushed, right? Evolution theory, uh, whatever it is. I can't even think of a lot of stuff, but the evolution theory, you got your whole atheists and whatever you want to name it at the end of the day. But the whole agenda is if you can't see it, don't believe it. Or some people believe in that nature where if they don't believe it, can't touch it with their 5 senses or different things of that nature. They don't believe it or they're not aware of it. They don't want to be aware of it. They don't want to have the knowledge of it or different things of that nature. But there is a substance within what we cannot see. There is ether out here. So since we can't see the ether, do we not add it to our existence? That's the question, right? So since we can't see the breath that it takes for us to do what we do, walk how we walk, talk how we talk, right? And build a life that we want to see, does it not count? Is it not added? Is it not connected? Can we not build upon it? Right? So just because we can't see, or just because we think these things do not hold space, meaning value, something that can be built upon, right? Just because we don't believe they're holding space does not mean it's not being counted on the back end. All right. Now let's get into, first, before we get into subtraction. So I did this thing, right? I said 1 plus 1 equals 3. right? And so I went all the way up, and then this is how I got into subtraction. All right, I'm gonna show y'all this real quick because everybody always saying 1 plus 1 equals 3, but ain't nobody going into no other numbers. Well, how you get 5, how you get 4? We're gonna go into that. All right, let's go into our primes first. 1 plus 1 equals 3. 3 plus 1 equals 5. 5 plus 1 equals 7. 7 plus 1 equals 9. Okay? We're going to stop there because everything else repeats. Once you figure out the code in the equation, all it is wash and repeat, right? All right, so let's say it again. The title is 1 plus 1 equals 3. But what happens when it's 3 plus 1? That's 5. What's 5 plus 1? 7. What's 7 plus 1? 9. All our prime numbers right there. Or all our odd numbers right there. Now let's go into subtraction. This is where 2 comes into place. All right. Now, this is me overthinking, brainstorming to myself. This is not, we are off of YouTube. We are off of trying to find out who talking about what now. Now we're in our silence, meditate and being mindful. Because I had to ask my question, right? Well, if 1 plus 1 equals 3, well, what happens when we start subtracting 1 minus 1? Well, what happens then? Okay, so now let's get into it. 1 minus 1 equals 2. How did I come up with that though? That's the question. 1 minus 1 equals 2 because the things that are leaving is the space in that person that's with that space or with whatever you gave that person. You're the one, the space and the person is leaving. So it's only those 2 people are leaving, or 2 things, or 2 substances, or 2 beings. So just listen, this is me overthinking rant. This ain't even, I don't know if it's true, false. I don't even know if anybody else talking about this right now. Okay? 1 minus 1 equals 2. Okay? There is no such thing as a negative. Once you get the 2, now we just back to adding 1. Because there is no such thing as a negative. We'll get back into what's 2 minus 1. Okay, but first we had to find how we get to 2 if 1 plus 1 equals 3. That's the whole thing. Well, how we skipping over 2 and 1 plus 1 equals 3. Okay, so 1 minus 1 gives us 2. That's where 2 pop up for me in my overthinking rants. Right now we put back the positive integer. 2 plus 1 equals 4. 4 plus 1 equals 6. 6 plus 1 equals 8. And then we stop. Now we got all our evens because now we just washing and repenting. Washing and repeating with 10 through 20, 20 through 30, 30 through 40, 40 through 50. Right? However you want to do it. This and what's dope about this, when I was in this mind state, when I was just brainstorming, I'm literally just writing stuff on paper. Okay? As I'm doing this, right? It opened up who we are in the sense of we are pure creativity, man. We are pure potentiality. Like we can create whatever we want out of whatever we want. It don't take us knowing all the information, reading all the books, doing this. No, it says in the Bible, right? Where 2 or 3 comes together, I am there. Or where 1 or 2 come together. However the scripture says, if you in the book, you in the book. But how can it say if these amount of people come and then I am there? So does the I am not count? Because in their particular is counting. So if the 2 and 3 come together and I am present, that makes it 3 or 4. It's a connection. It's a building upon. Okay. So let's drop back. Remember, this is me. This is not coming out no book. This ain't me trying to distract y'all with nothing. Let's sit back and let's talk about it, right? So if we got 1 plus 1 equals 3, well, what's 1 minus 1? It's 2. Then I had to ask myself, well, okay, what's 2 minus 1? 2 minus 1 is still 2. I know, y'all. I was sitting here trying to figure it out too. But I had to go down this rabbit hole, right? Then I said, well, 3 minus 1 equals Okay, so 3 minus 1 equals 3. Am I doing this right? Yeah. So 3 minus 1 equals 3. So I'm sitting here like, I'm scratching my head. Because I wasn't getting it. I didn't understand it, right? So once I broke it down and just thought about it, I said, okay, space, the negative integer, or what we perceive as a subtraction integer, is space that can be occupied, meaning it's not negative or positive. It's just space to do what you want creatively on it. What's the okay, subtracting, or to subtract equals to take away, meaning to take away. What's the Latin preposition of that? First, you have to look at sub, which is below, and then the Latin word for track is tahir, which is to draw. So it's to draw below. So we're not talking about a negative number. We're not talking about having a negative space. No, we're talking about space, right? Or something that can be drawn that's or below. So let me say it like this. Let me back because I'm getting tongue tied. Okay. It's something that is below, that you draw below. So meaning if water is on the top and you draw it below, is that negative water? If you have water on the surface, right, and it's seeping through the soil, going into the earth, is coming below, meaning sub, right? Subway, substation, right? You go underground to go get to it, right? Below, is that water negative? Are you not going to drink that water because it come out the spring underground and you feel like that's a negative water to drink? No, you're going to drink it. That water, what the water is doing is occupying space. So what I realize is that the subtraction symbol and the addition symbol is symbols for the space in between. Okay? For the space in between. And what the law of karma is going to do is going to help kind of bring these mathematics together in spiritual law and universal law. And we also going to go over the law of polarity, because the law of polarity also can confirm this in our creativity. Why? Because we know that there is different degrees to everything. It's not all the same. Okay? It's different degrees to everything. All right? All right. So one of the things that came to me was, okay, like I said earlier, it said you cannot have a negative number / integer, because in order to subtract / take away, there must be a building in that space. So you can't, okay, from our mathematics or our arithmetic way of thinking or fundamentals, is that we can have a negative space. It don't work like that. Nothing in life tells us that we can occupy negative space, because there is nothing negative about space. Space is space. Okay? It's neutral, right? It's a neutron in the presence of the electron and proton. Okay? It's the neutron in the presence of the electron and proton. Okay? So it says, I wrote, there must be a building in the space. There are no such things as negative number. Okay, the negative, what we see as the subtraction sign, represents space, the in between. Okay, one thing about it, how can we connect this with our everyday goals when we want to try to achieve something, right? Appreciate the love. When we want to try to achieve something, okay, it's us thinking about it, visualizing it, and saying, I'm going to commit and make the decision. Boom. Then it's the process, the progress, and then it's the result. That's 1, 2, 3. You get what I'm saying? But you don't see the progress. You don't see the process. Everyone doesn't see that, right? They don't see your mental thoughts going in your head. That's added. That's not just emptiness. You cannot just say, I didn't do anything to get here. I was here and then I got that, whatever it was. No, it was a process. It was a process to get to the plane. It was a process for you to be conceived. It was a process for you to learn the language. It was a process for you to become whoever you are now in today's day and age we live in now. And the process is the in-between space. That's the what we would call the symbol, the negative, right? The plus sign, right? The plus sign or the subtraction sign. That's the process. That's the in-between space that we don't see and that we always don't count. So when we see these creators come on here and we see them say something outlandish like 1 + 1 = 3, we can start to have an awareness about it and say, okay, I might not agree with what you're saying, but I can accept it, but because I can see the perspective where you're coming from. It's not about agreeing with nobody. If you want to believe 1 + 1 = 2, go ahead and believe it. I got to somewhat believe it because if my kids want to pass whatever it is that these school systems want to pass, they got to know 1 + 1 = 2 because that's in their education system. This is why it's so important for us to get into society as individuals, right? As regular people, whatever a regular person is. I mean, we're not talking about, we can't leave this stuff up to RZA, Dr. Umar, the guy Rashad Jamal, who else out here? TD Jakes, these rappers, who else out here trying to make a way? Whoever. We can't leave it up to them. It got to be the regular people that's building here, building there, installing here. We'll work for this person because I like their vision. I'm going to stay around these group of people. Boom. And it's a community building on top of what we do. Right? So we just have to remember that there's a presence, there's a substance that lies in between. Right? There's a presence in the space itself. Right? Okay? So now let's get to the book, right? So the book of the night, my favorite book, if you know me and you follow me, is the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, right? First, we have to understand what success is. See, a lot of people don't understand what success and why I always go back to this book. People think success is you getting a bunch of money, you out here dancing and hoop-a-blah foreign cars and you doing you and you out here watching what the rappers and all these other people do on these social media accounts. Now, that ain't what success is. Success is going after a worthy idea. Success, let me say it again, is going after a worthy idea. So these are the 7 spiritual laws of going after a worthy idea. It's not the 7 spiritual laws so I can go out here and make a lot of money. No, it's not the 7 spiritual laws so I can go out here and be out here materializing and humanizing and doing everything else that I've been wanting to do with my fleshly body, but I ain't get right spiritually before I even got to what we call success, or you got the result of your worthy idea. Okay? So let's get into it. All right. So the law of karma. Okay, and we're gonna also go into how to apply. Because one thing I do not do is I'm not gonna give you a law, and then I'm not gonna go in on the law and then tell you, and then not tell you how to apply it, meaning put in application in real life. Right? We can't say because it's a 7 spiritual law, it's just some make-believe hocus pocus. No. Right? And we know it's not hocus pocus because ever since The Secret movie came out with Bob Proctor and them boys, everybody been knowing about the law of attraction, universal laws, and all of these other creators that's been blessing us with this knowledge in these books and different things are giving us access to the knowledge, right? Because some of us too lazy to go get the books, myself included, right? So let's look at it, right? Karma is the eternal, assertion of human freedom. Our thoughts, our words, deeds are the threads of the net which we throw around ourselves. Okay? Y'all got that? Now that's from Swami Vivekananda. All right? I might have butchered the name. Y'all don't hurt me on that. All right? A lot of these laws and some of these spiritual facts are coming from like the Rig Veda, Hinduism, Buddhism, Confucianism, different things of that nature, because it's a universal thing. Okay, we're not just doing the. When I say spiritual, I'm talking about universal, right? I'm talking about all religions and everything they got to offer, plus a little, plus all that science, and we gonna sprinkle and make a cake with that boy. Okay, so it goes into this. It says the third spiritual law of success is the law of karma. All right, the law of karma is both action and the consequence of that action. Okay, it is cause and effect simultaneously because every action generates a force of energy that returns to us in like kind. So pause right there. We finna bring it back to 1 + 1 = 3 right now. We finna bring it back to 1 + 1 = 3. It says it is cause and effect simultaneously, right? Because every action generates force of energy that's still in the second one, right? That returns back to us in like kind. Okay? So right there in the law of karma, or the law of cause and effects, is showing us how 1 + 1 = 3. Yes, we can still say that, okay, there's two, but there is, okay, let me see. Yes, okay, you say you think you got two, but the two don't know nothing about each other. So how can there be two? Let me say it again. You got 1 and 1. 1 and 1 is not two. 1 + 1 is 3, as it says in the title. So if we saying, right, let me step back. Let me step back because I'm overthinking, I'm getting excited. Okay. It says because every action generates a force of energy to return to us in like kind. Meaning it's not the same. It's not the same. It's not the same, but it's one in the same because it happened what? Simultaneously. It's not me saying this now. Now, this is not me. When the first part about it, when we was going in about subtraction, I even might have made a mistake in doing all that talking, which I do not care to be wrong. So if you can correct me in any form or fashion. Okay. But this now we in the book. This is somebody else writing. This is other people's information, right? And this is how we coexist. This is how we learn, right? This is how we study. So the author here in the 7 spiritual laws of success is saying, right, it is cause and effect simultaneously because every action generates a force of energy that returns to us in like kind. Those are 3 different things. The action and the force let me say it like this. The action and the return of like kind are 2 different things. What connects them is the force of energy. Now the law of karma can be in full effect. It's not, let me put in action and then all of a sudden I get something in like kind. No, there's a reaction. There's a force that's being played out here in order for that to happen. So we cannot just sit back and continue to say, okay, there's in the in between of things, there is nothing going on, or it doesn't matter. Right? We gonna bring certain stuff back through laws and principles, not because that's what he say or she say. No, we just gonna bring it back through laws and principles based on how the law is set up. Is how we gonna start to function out in life, because it's people that's going to, okay, how do you let me pause real quick, right? Because we want to say, a lot of us, we say, okay, the world that we going against, or the world is going against God or the Most High, doing evil things, this, that, and the third, blase, 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 right? My question is, well, how do we go against the Most High? This is why reading the Bible is so important, or reading spiritual books is so important, because you will see the same thing happen in every book. But my foundation is the Bible, which most people that look like me is that foundation, right? Okay, so why in the Bible, oh man, I lost my space talking too much, y'all. All right. So why in the Bible, oh man, I lost my space, y'all, talking too much. Dang, I hate when that happens. It might not be meant for me to get into that. So it might come back to me. We'll see. So let's continue reading. It says, there is nothing unfamiliar about the law of karma. Everyone has heard the expression, what you sow is what you reap. Obviously, if we want to create happiness in our lives, we must learn to sow the seed of happiness. Okay? So, first, before I even put the book down, it says, whatever you sow is what you reap. Okay? Obviously, if we want to create happiness in our lives, we must learn how to sow the seed of happiness. Therefore, karma implies the action of conscious choice making. Okay, let's see how these two tag along, how they connect. We must what first? Sow. What is sowing? Right? What is learning to sow? That's an action. That's not just sitting still and hoping something happens. That's an action. One, the seeds of happiness is two. What's the third thing for it to happen? It's the watering of the seed. But you cannot, nothing can take place. Everything is its own individual thing. It's its own individual thing. It's all positive. The only time the negative comes in is when you take away something. That's it. And that's not a negative. That's just a taking away. Meaning it's still there. It hasn't gone anywhere. So how is it negative? You lost money today. You lost a bunch of money today, didn't you? About $500 a day. Out there working, slaving, and then you lost it. Guess what? The money's still here. It didn't go. You just don't have it no more. It's a difference, meaning you can still go out there and get it. That's the positive about it. But that's not a 1-2 action. There can never be a 1-2 action. It's only 1 and 1 and it's 3. It's only the 1 and 1 because the 1 and 1 creates a reaction. It creates the reaction. Excuse me. It creates the reaction. Okay. Oh, I had a bug flying around me, attracted to the light. Excuse me. All right. So as we're going in and understanding the law of karma and applying these laws to other topics out here that people are bringing up, that people are coming to us about, the community about, they're just telling us any and everything. We don't know if it's a distraction. We don't know if it's true. We don't know what it is, right? So we just here to make sense of it all. The best way to make sense of a lot of this stuff, let's compare it to universal laws, right? Let's compare it to spiritual laws. Because one thing about spiritual laws and universal laws, what are they? Absolute. Meaning the elements that we can't see, that's inside of us, our body, everything in our realm, guess what they abide by? Laws and principles. And guess what? That little brain fart I had earlier, it done came back. If we want, right, to go against the Most High, they got Satanism out here on you. They say Christians going against the Most High. They say the Hindus going against the Most High. They say the Buddhists going against the Most High. They say the atheists going against the Most High. They say the capitalists going against the Most High. They say the communists going against the Most High. Well, how is this? Why is this? That's how I had to ask myself. That's why I had to free myself of everything. When I say free myself of everything, make a choice that I wanted to make, meaning the essence of me without anybody else concerning it, right? Take everybody information and then use that to make my own choice. Free thinker, pure potentiality, infinite creativity, being. That's what I am. Back to the matter at hand. How do we go against ourselves, right? and the Most High. Let me put it like that, because we are connected to the Most High. Because once we go against ourselves, we go against the Most High. That's why I say, you a Christian, in that big old Bible, it says what? As I am in you, you are in me, or you are in me as we are in the Father. Something like that. If it ain't that, it's somewhere around that sense. How can that be? So, excuse me. So, back to the overthinking rant. How do we go against ourselves in the Most High, which is called sin? How is this? Breaking laws and principles. And it's not just any laws and principles. It's universal laws and principles. Like the universal law of gender. I don't care what you want to do with your creativity. Go out here and go do you. I give you a pat on the back while you're doing it. Support you with the sign in the air like, oh, yeah. But there's a law behind that. It's the law of gender. It's universal. Meaning what? You can't run away from it. You cannot go. You can't run. Meaning whatever creativity that you want to come up with and be your pure potential self and whatever has a foundation of gender. Meaning that you were genderized as a foundation before you chose your freedom or your sexuality or whatever it is, which is your right, your pure creativity, your pure potentiality. Remember, there is no negative. So it's all positive. Okay? But the question is, how do we go against ourselves in the Most High, which we call sin, by breaking laws and principles, universal laws and principles, spiritual laws and principles. That's why certain laws and principles in place. So when you break them, you got to get the effect of it. Not the Most High, not the creator of all things, not the unbound one. The unbound one say, I already did it. You already got my little seasoning salt on you. Go ahead and do you. I'm just going to sit back, watch you do you. Go do you. Because as you do you, I get to do me. That's the importance of going out here, using your creativity, going out here, implementing the things you want to see in society. Not the other way around. It's not society brainwashing you and implementing the things they want you to do. No, I do what I want to do and implement the things that I want to implement into society. And that's in my Denzel voice, if I had one. One plus one equals 3. Ain't no negative. So once you start to understand what subtract means, it's okay, sub below and track to draw. So what we doing with subtracting? That's why we got to understand what mathematics is, what arithmetic is. What is this they teaching us? Where does it come from? Is it the Egyptians? Was Egyptian over here in America, or was Egypt a worldly empire? So it had places on every continent. Oh, Egypt in America, Egypt in Africa, but it's pyramids all over the world. So what y'all talking about? It's a whole nother conversation for another day. Matter of fact, let's overthink it right now. Let's talk about it. Simultaneously, Egypt is everywhere, debunking Africa and America theory right now. Why is this? First off, it's pyramids everywhere. You can say, oh, ain't pyramids over here, where it's more over here, it's more over there. Whatever you want to say. Cool. It's more high rises in America. It's more high rises in China. It's more high rises over here than it is in the Congo of Africa, than Lagos. But what are we saying? Are we saying that China and America, because they got all the high rises over there? No, we're not. So what I'm saying is Egypt was everywhere. Just like all these other nations was everywhere. People was everywhere. People was building everywhere. Listen to this, right? Let's look at this real quick. The law of cause and effect. Okay, let's look at this. Why do I say Egypt is everywhere? America is everywhere right now as we speak. China is everywhere right now as we speak. Not because it's migration and all of this stuff. Cool, you can say that, cool. But I don't know none of that in the world that I live in. History is conditioning. So how do we know, based on the pictures that they're giving us, they're not conditioning us to think a certain type of way? Because when I condition my players for practice, I'm conditioning them to play a certain type of way in the game. I'm just saying, as a coach. So if you're getting conditioned by history, Think about that. That's all I'm saying. All I know is I know nothing. That's my philosophy, though, at the end of the day. Let's get back to the book. So it says, right, what I want to really point out here, it said it is cause and effect simultaneously, meaning it's at the same time. So when we talking about people sprouting up places, oh, this land was the first land out the water. This land over here, the mainland, it's the motherland. Man, everybody was coming up at the same time. Everything was happening simultaneously. Mind, universe, life. We ain't talking about a big bang. No, we talking about a creation, a thought process. It says we are in the mind of the Most High. We are in the mind of the All. And we are just a what? Thought. Well, we are just in the mind of it all. And what are we really doing? What are we really talking about? What are we really pursuing? What are we really doing with the information? What are you gonna do with the information when you find out that Egypt? Oh, sorry, my fault. My fault, man. It's the mic. I apologize. I gotta calm it down, son. I apologize for that. So I might have to edit it on the back end. But anyways, right? The Most High, right? The Creator of all things. It says we're in the mind of it all, right? Then you have quantum physics telling us that we cannot have mind without the universe, or the universe without mind. It's a simultaneous thing. Then you have on the back end of science that it was a big bang. It was, and everything happened, right? So when we see these things, all these things happen simultaneously, and it's not just in religion, it's not just in spirituality or what we consume, spirituality or universal law. It's not just in science, it's across the board. So what we know, what we start to figure out, not know, we just start to be conscious and aware of through the knowledge that we're starting to consume, is that what? This is a reaction. This is something that's happening simultaneously. Things are connecting, joining, building upon each other in order to bring forth what we have here. Regardless if we believe it's an illusion, it's as real as it's going to be to us. This pen is going to be as real as it's going to be as long as I'm here to make it as real as it's going to be. But as soon as I'm gone, the pen is just the pen. Till the person that comes and picks up the pen and use the pen for what they need it for. But so we just have to really get it to the understanding, right? That we have to, as the people, the all, the common denominator for anybody being successful in their life, for anybody getting any money in their life, for anybody building a successful company, a successful nation, a successful family, it takes the people. Period. So as the people, we have to start to realize the impact that we have as individuals that connect as the collective, and how we can change society without even having a revolution. See, the agenda is pushed. There's agendas pushed out here. See, we think that we supposed to have a revolution because somebody's saying we supposed to have a revolution. They say, oh, the revolution will never be televised, right? People saying these things, right? But my thing is, well, why are people saying these things? First off, who is the people saying these things? Second off, appreciate it. Who is the people saying these things? Second, and then why does it have to be like that? Why can't we televise the revolution? Well, why do we have to call it a revolution? Why can't we have it as a televised revolution, and then as we're televising the revolution, we're doing everything that we're saying without really super extreme violence and all of this, like just being like some ninjas and just going in there, just next thing you know, we got 50 hospitals across the nation, all black owned, all black employees, or whoever we want in, people of like mind, likeness, and this, that, and the third. Like, building up different type of school systems with different education and creativity tools and creativity systems. Like, it doesn't take much. Like, we put too much trust and belief in the politician. I'm gonna tell you now. I know. They like his Avatar or something, right? Like, we we'll watch Avatar, watch Naruto. They talking about the fourth great Hokage war or something like that. So we talking about now in the TV that we watch, the history that we go to school and see, and then the news that we see in the day and age we now all talking about wars. Then the 3 and 4th and 5th of the wars. At some point in time, right, we got to get tired, meaning that, okay, we understand it's going to be a war. People don't agree. Okay, keep that over there, bro. It's like what Eddie Griffin was saying. That's one of my favorite comedians, if not my favorite top comedian. Not just because he's a comedian, but because he opened my eyes to a lot of this stuff, just listening to him growing up. So one of the things he was saying, man, I was watching this podcast, is that he getting nervous with the white on white crime. He was like, man, we should be supporting. That might be my next episode. White Lives Matter. And if you are Caucasian and white, y'all need to be on top of people that look like you, as in skin complexion. We say white, but whatever color it is, I don't know what color that is, to be honest. I know I'm not black. I know you not white. So whatever your color is, if we're going to go by color, but Caucasian, if you from the Caucasus Mountain, because every Caucasian ain't even from the Caucasus Mountain. Right? You need to go tell your people to stop tripping. You got Russia and Ukraine. You got them Zionists out there and the Jews out there. They're tripping. They're wilding. And South Africa need to sit down somewhere and get out the way. And Brazil. And let these people do what they do. And tell themselves that they've been tearing up. White lives matter. We need y'all. Telling y'all this from the heart, man. It does. It was funny because he was saying that, because when he was saying it, I was like, dang, bro, that's kind of spooky, because it's true. You don't see no dominant black leaders out here trying to do no nuclear warfare. Who? You don't even see no dominant black leaders out here owning the gun that they created. So why do black lives matter? If we the majority of the planet anyway. With any ethnicity that we procreate with, we're the dominant gene. That you go on the news here is Joe Biden giving Ukraine some money to fight Russia. 3 white boys at one point in time that turned into white men, boys to men. White lives matter. WLM. Does it sound good when it's like that? Does it sound approachable? Does it make you want to get out your seat and go start an uprising, a revolution? Probably not. But it's okay. It's okay. The reason why I say it's okay, because we are all, when I say all, I'm talking about white, black, China, Arab, whatever color you want to call yourself, or ethnicity you want to call yourself, or whatever nation you want to call yourself, or be from. It doesn't matter, right? It takes all of us. We are all the messiahs. We are all chosen. But are we all chosen for the same thing? No. Are we the messiahs over the same thing and have dominance over the same thing? No. But you are no less chosen than I, just because your complexion is not like me, and your eyes don't look like mine, and your nose ain't quite shaped, and your chin and jawline ain't, your hair is curly and nappy. It's okay. Why? Because you're chosen. But just because you're chosen does not mean that we are chosen for the same objectives, for the same agendas. Every universal law is chosen for a particular thing. Every principle is chosen for a particular thing. Every life on this planet is chosen for a particular thing. It's not the other way around. You are already chosen. We are all the messiahs. When we all become the messiahs, when we all become the ambassadors of the Most High, of the oneness of the all, who can they knock off? They're gonna drop a nuke and just, hey man, they're gonna stick to that what's your boy name that's trying to knock off 500 mil? Bill, what's his name? What the boy name that did Microsoft? Huh? I can't even think of his name. So when I say this, man, I mean it from the bottom of my heart. We are all chosen. We are all messiahs. We just have to go out here and do the work. And it don't take a revolution. It takes us implementing in real time, real things in society that we want to see. And that's it. That's it. And just start small. It doesn't have to be, don't get caught in the illusion where you feel like success is you having 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 80 bands in your bank account. You a millionaire. You're driving foreign cars. No, that might look like you taking care of your family of 6. You driving 2 minivans, but you got a home guarded. You running your business successfully, making enough to make rent because you don't own no house and you ain't looking to own no house. You just trying to make sure everything is well kept and you teaching your kids the right way. So when you go, they can build off what you have already taught them and showed them. Wealth is not is not materialistic. It's not monetary. Wealth is what we give. Appreciate that, Bill Gates. Wealth is wealth is a lifestyle. Wealth is a learning process, right? Wealth is a result from a process. Wealth is it all, right? That's why you replace the W with the H. It's health, wealth. They design these words like this for a reason, because your English is the mixture of so many prepositions or propositions, however you pronounce it. But you have Latin, you have German, you have Dutch, you have English, you have French. And in English is a combination of a lot of stuff. Then especially the new English that we live in. Then you have old English. See what I'm saying? So we just have to remember that this, just use discernment. Just use discernment. Be deliberate, and be intentional. Okay? Just use discernment, be deliberate, and be intentional with the life that you want to live. Okay? All right, so let's get back into the book. Enough about the rant. I think I caught everything about. So let's get into how to apply the law of karma, or how to apply it, right? Or what to do to apply it the proper way. All right, let me make sure. All right. Applying the law of karma, or cause and effect. All right. It says, I will put the law of karma into effect by making the commitment to make the following steps. All right. It says, today I will witness the choices I make in each moment. And in the mere witnessing of these choices, I will bring them to my conscious awareness. I will know the best way to prepare for any moment in the future is to be fully conscious in the present. Did we get that? Did we get it? All right. How to apply the law of cause and effect. First, you got to be aware. You got to be conscious. That was the last episode, if I'm not mistaken. The last episode, episode 7, right? Last time we were live here, it was on consciousness, us being conscious. Some of those posts on my video feed, if y'all want to see what we were talking about, go to the YouTube channel, right? It says here you have to be what? I will bring them to my what? Conscious awareness. Conscious awareness. All right. The reason why is because of the first thing I said earlier. It's because we have to be deliberate, intentional, and have discernment. That's very important in creating a lifestyle, right? Or not, I can't even say the lifestyle, but the mindset in order to create the lifestyle that we want to see. And we're not talking about making money. We're talking about implementing change into society so we can continue to live more comfortably without having to think about everything that's going on in the shadows. Creating safe places within the community, right? Within the community. It's too much that goes on out here that we hear about that we have in turn became desensitized to in a sense, right? Where we just don't care no more. Are we waiting for somebody else to do something about it? And then we can probably give some money or whatever, right? So it says, I will bring them to my conscious awareness. I will know that the best way to prepare for any moment in the future is to be fully conscious in the present. Okay? It's to be fully conscious in the present, meaning also go back to the video of the law of detachment because that is very important. How do you get fully in the present? The law of detachment. Understanding that, okay, there is a result. That's cool. But I'm going to be more concerned with the process, with my intentions, with my desire, with my consistencies, with my disciplines, right? And everything that I'm doing, I'm having discernment, I'm deliberate, and I'm intentional in everything that I'm doing every single day to apply whatever it is in life that I'm looking to apply. But it starts with the mindset. That's why the laws and the principles are so important. Because once you understand that universal law, that first off, the law of potentiality, the first episode, that you are what? Per potentiality and per creativity. If we go to the Kabbalion, right? That's the book sitting right here behind me, that black one, right there, right? If we go there, it says what? Everything is what? Mental. So we have to what? Also Bible. It's sitting up there. You can't see it. It says what? Romans, whatever, whatever. It says what? Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. So it starts here. Once we start to change our mental, then the way we see things will change. Perspective. Third eye represents perspective. And well, it's all right. We'll see what we can do. All right. So it's a mental state. Okay. It's a mental change. This is what these principles, these laws are help bringing out. A mentality. It says, okay, the second one, how to apply. It says, whenever I make a choice, I will ask myself two questions. What are the consequences of that choice that I am making? And will this choice bring fulfillment and happiness to me, also to those who are affected by this choice? Y'all see that? So two questions. One thing that I promote is self-talking, meaning I promote people talking to themselves, asking yourself a question, thinking to yourself, being mindful, becoming your best friend, being okay to be alone with you. If you can't ask yourself questions in order to get clarity or help get clarity, it's tough. I know from experience, right? I know from experience, right? Because if we out here just doing stuff, that's when stuff just happening to us. We ain't got no consistency in how we moving. We ain't got no discipline in how we moving. We ain't even really thinking about how we moving. We ain't even concerned with the people that we hanging around and how we get in the motion. We just moving, but we not thinking, right? So asking questions help us think. One of the things that I always hashtag in any of my videos is what? Take time to think. Not because we want you overthinking, as the podcast would say. That's just me. I'm an overthinker. It's not healthy to overthink, right? In some cases. But take time to think. Time is what you perceive it to be, meaning your 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, however you want to do it. Don't matter. But take the time to say, okay, if I do this right now, like I say, well, what's the consequences down the road? Is it gonna bring me closer to what I want to see in my life? And then what I want to see, or how is it gonna affect the people around me? It's important. What I'm doing here right now on TikTok live, and when I post it here out here on the internet, it has an effect on my family, on my sons. When they grow older and they'll be like, oh yeah, your daddy and you be on YouTube but talking crazy and all this nonsense and stuff. But they know. But now they can go what? Look up the information. They can go question the world that they live in. It's not done in what? Vain. No, it's not money. It's not materialistic. It's not no clothes. It's not the latest Jordans that just dropped. Yes, I understand. I know that's not what it is, but at the end of the day, it's what? Wealth, because it's a mental state that I'm preparing them to be in. Because everything is mental first. Once I tell them all the time, once you control your mind, you can, everything else is easy. You can control your emotions. You can control your breathing. You can control your response and how you react to people. Because you got this. Once you lose this, everything else is out the door. Might well wrap them up in a white coat and say he crazy. I let them go out here with the butterflies and run around naked or whatever. Don't matter. But once you lose this, it's over with for you. All right? So let's get into it, right? I think we got one more. All right, yeah, the third one, okay? I will then ask my heart for guidance. Now, this is big. I'm going to stop right here. I know y'all be like, man, man, you be stopping too much, man. It's all good. Overthinking rent. Then ask your heart for guidance. So let's ask ourselves this real quick before we even get into my overthinking rent that I'm getting ready to get into. Why didn't it say this from jump? It says, whenever I make a choice, I will ask myself 2 questions. It says, what are the consequences of that choice that I'm making? And will this choice bring fulfillment and happiness to me? Also, how would it affect those around me, right? Well, the funny thing is, it doesn't say I will ask myself 2 questions to the heart, because automatically you thinking brain. Automatic, right or wrong. You thinking thought form. You thinking what I can think in this cerebellum or pineal gland or whatever space name they want to call it, right? It says here, I will then ask my heart. It's very important to know that your heart can think. It's very, very, very essential to know that your heart can feel and think. I don't know if you ever felt the pain in the heart before. I'm not talking about physical. It's almost like a void, right? An emptiness, right? The pain in the heart. It's a difference than a headache. We're not talking about a heart attack, right? We're talking about an emptiness. Okay? So if you ever felt that before, then you have thought from the heart before, or you have been affected to your heart level or brain or way of thinking. That's why you have to be very conscious of what this is. One of the things that I learned through the birthing process, the heart comes before the brain. We think because it's a muscle, it pumps the blood. No, because that's an organ that's thinking, that has a mind of its own, that has a job to do. It's vital. Just like every other organ, right? We might be able to replace them with other people's kidneys or livers, or live without one or live without them because of technology and different things. But these things are conscious beings. These things do have intelligence. We don't think that because We think the body is just an automatic body. They just down there doing what they doing. I remember a video from high school, and it was a biology video about the proteins and different things. Now, mind you, yeah, it's a 3D animation or whatever. But mind you, man, when they went that deep and you seen what's going on, it's like a workstation. They got a mind of its, the protein has a mind of its own inside the body, which came from a different source that you interacted with through consuming and eating or drinking or whatever it is that you did to get the protein. But then in your body, it goes through a certain systems, and that protein has a mind of its own, and every system that it goes through has a mind of its own. We talking about exactly the essence of consciousness. The essence, the essential nature of who we are, what we are. That's why what we do is so important, because there is something that is larger than us that is being affected by what we do. We don't see it, but the protons, the electrons, the neutrons, my kidneys don't see me right now. My heart don't see me right now. If it wasn't for this camera, it'd be straight VR mode right now. We be in metaverse right now. If it was not for this camera, I can see myself. So we have to really start to comprehend, understand that who and what we are. Energy beings, right? Perpotentiality, infinite creativity, right? And everything that is around us that is attracted to us, like our body, is a form of intelligence to help guide us in the realm and the planet that we on. And everything in this realm and planet that we on is conducted, is held together, it coexists through laws and principles. Nothing is outside the law. Nothing is outside the principle. That's why on every land, in every body of water, whatever you want to call it, laws, principles. Every kingdom, every empire, every insect, every fowl in the sky, every cloud, every raindrop, the fake sun and the real sun, the natural satellite that we call the moon, is all conducted by laws and principles. It stays in its place by laws and principles. It does its job through laws and principles. No one, nothing, nada is outside the law and or principles. And once we start to really, as the people, we're not talking about 1%ers, 2%ers, 3%ers, 4%ers, 5%ers, these people that have the illusion of running the world or running major companies. Cool. Yeah, you got the money. You say you run the world, boo, boo, boo. Okay, cool. All the money in the Philippines. We already know that. That's where all the gold at. It's in the Philippines. The cat's out the bag. Sorry. All right. Ain't no money. All right. Ain't no currency, I should say. The real gold and silver is in the Philippines for the Americas, at least. That's where our people's put it. All right. So that was a big rant. I apologize, y'all. So just what I'm trying to say is that once we start to comprehend the laws and the principles and start to apply them and make it a lifestyle, then we can begin to see the type of success that we want to see. Hey, there we go. So you know. Well, I don't know if you know, but it's one of the secrets that I heard. And I heard that before. I heard that back in like high school. And I heard that through, I ain't gonna say too much on it because I don't know if it's gonna become a time again for me to do certain things out here. Or I already know I gotta meet with some people. But just say it like this. I was connected with certain people that was connected with other people that knew what was going on, like that knew really what the play was at the end of the day. And I just happened to be privy to be part of a family that was part of what was going on and possibly still part of what's going on. So, but I don't know how that's going to play in the long run. I don't. At the end of the day, I'm called to do my work, and not even my work. the will of the Most High, I'm unbowing whatever that put me here in order to do what I'm doing. At the end of the day, that's how I just see it. But anyways, let's finish it. Okay, it says, I would then ask my heart for guidance and be guided by its message of comfort or discomfort. All right, remember, nothing is negative. It's all for a positive reason. But it depends on your mindset and your perspective, because you are the creative being. The universe don't see negative and positive. It only see creativity. Okay? If the choice feels comfortable, I will plunge ahead with abandon. I don't know what that means. Yeah, abandon. Ahead with abandon. If the choice feels uncomfortable, I will pause and see the consequences of my actions with my inner vision. Okay? This guidance will enable me to make spontaneous, correct choices for myself and for all those around me. All right? So it says, ask your question to your heart, right? And then it says, have an inner vision. Okay? So as we see, to apply the law of karma, we dealing with us. We're not dealing with a lot of people around us or giving and receiving. No, before we even step out into the world, before we even react on this person cutting us off, right? Before we even react with our boss getting mad at us about nothing, before we even react about our kids messed up the house, before we even react, we've already asked ourselves the question, right? Well, what if or if I ask my heart, well, which is uncomfortable, which is comfortable, which is unpleasant, which is not pleasant, right? And then we go based on what? Based on what we're feeling, right? Asking the question, but we're not reacting based off how we feeling. It's two different things. We question ourselves based off how we feeling. We're not reacting. We reacting based off the question, based off the answer we receive from asking ourselves a question. Take time to think. Mm-hmm. Exactly. All right. Good points in the comment, Scott. Okay. So, man, it was an honor tonight. It really was. We went over a little bit tonight. I usually go on about an hour 15, something like that. So we getting right there. Man, it was a pleasure. It really was. It was awesome. We went in tonight. I hope the gist of it, everybody was able to get. If you was taking notes, I hope you were able to receive it, and how we brought together, the whole concept of 1+1=3, applying it to the law of karma, which we can apply this to every universal law, and we see the same effect. But we applied it to the law of karma and understanding that there is no space unoccupied, or how can I say, there is no space without substance. Okay, so when we see a symbol, right, like or even a multiplication problem, division problem, subtraction, these symbols are designed to show you what is going on within the space, whether it's being built upon or being taken away from. All right. Peace, peace, peace. Nah, you did good, man. I appreciate you, Scott, man. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Being active in the comments and everything. Yeah. I completely understand. So, if y'all on YouTube watching this, I do read the comments as we live on TikTok. Um, I'm pretty much going to probably come on an hour earlier, or 45 minutes earlier. I originally did it at 11:45. The reason being is because, man, I'm very active in the community. When I say I do my best to not just come on here and talk to y'all about all of this stuff I'm talking to you all about, but I'm out here in the community doing it and teaching it to kids that may not or may see my TikTok. I got youth in kids that go to different schools, and my football players, basketball players follow me on TikTok. So this is a message that I get out here in the community. It's not just something that I do for clout. I do for TikTok or whatever. So I might have to start coming on earlier because between coaching, running after school programs, and running different training sessions, accountability programs, just being up to date, and just family time, being a father and a husband, I might just have to come on earlier, just for better time management. But enough about that. Y'all don't need too much to know about that, but at least y'all know the gist if y'all see me coming on earlier. Other than that, if y'all have not seen those other episodes, I highly recommend go see those other episodes. I'm in the process of finishing up rewriting and revamping my book, and also revamping the accountability program. So I got a few things coming out to just help us as a collective to implement the things we want in society. That book is going to be called "You're Not a Failure," or I might change the name. I don't know what I'm going to do with the name. We'll see. All right, we'll see what's been given to me. But other than that, I'm not going to hold nobody no more. Peace, love.